Good morning, my beloved. It is Monday again, 7:30 Central Time. I have a question for you. Have you read it? Now, I'm sure if you guys know me, you think I'm talking about the Word of God, which I should have a question. Have you read it? It is a great book, and if you really want to learn how to do this life well, it's one you should take to memory. The Word of God is extremely powerful, and sometimes we minimize it in our generation. It's hard to believe how many times it's been forbidden and tried to be burned and got rid of, and it just continues to do what it does, transform lives. But that's not the book I'm talking about today. I'm talking about Good Grief, the book, my recent latest book. Have you read it? There's actually good forms of grief. There is grief that drives you away from God, and then there's grief that drives you towards God. There's grief that tethers you to that particular loss or situation, and then there's grief that sets you free to go on in life. And so I had a video taping last night. It went really, really well. But I realized there are some people who may want to comment but not be on video. And so if you've read the book, if you haven't read the book, you can't comment. But if you have read the book, Good Grief, it's been my best-selling book thus far. It's by far outsold the others. And something has happened with it in which people will buy one and then come back a week later, 10 days later, and buy six or eight more and give to their friends and their loved ones. It's been encouraging to know that the book is helping people through a very, very difficult time in their life. So if you have read the book, I have a couple of questions I would like you to answer. I'm going to give you my, there it is, lee.armstrong@vl.church. That's my personal email. If you have a comment about the book, here's the questions I asked the group last night. Here's the questions I would ask you. What was your favorite devotional? Which one spoke to you the most and why? What was it about it that made it your favorite? Another question I would like to ask is what did you learn? Was there something that you didn't know that the book suddenly made you aware of, a new knowledge, a new understanding? Maybe it was a confirmation of something you knew in your spirit but you didn't know how to articulate, and the book gave it words. I would also, like to ask you the question, what did I not share? If you've read the book, there's 100 days of daily devotionals with questions at the end of each chapter. And so, the book would have to be gigantic to cover every single question everybody has, but it's pretty thorough. But if there's something I didn't cover, if there's something I didn't ask, I would love to know what didn't I share that you wished I would have shared in the book. I also, would like to know in the reading of the book, when you did your questions and answered them, and there's questions at the end of every one, have you been able to use anything you learned to help somebody else? Now that you have some knowledge, now that you've read the book, is there anything in the book that you were able to use to help somebody else? Here's my greatest desire. My greatest desire is that I would be able to help you get through your loss so that you would be able to help somebody else. That's called discipleship. And I really believe the church needs to get back to this understanding that God didn't just save us for us, He saved us so we would be able to help others find the Lord, get saved. That He helps us through our situations so that we would be able to help others through the similar situations. Paul said in 2 Corinthians chapter 1, he said, the God of all comfort, He comforts us, He helps us through, He gets us through, He sends the Comforter, He comforts us so that we may be able to comfort others also. God is really interested in doing for you. If you were the only one, He would do it, but you're not the only one. And so He helps you through so that you might be able to help others through. Ultimately, I want to be able to multiply and multiply and multiply our ability to help people through loss. Because what I find is so many people do not talk about how they got through their loss, the loss of a husband, the loss of a wife, the loss of a child, the loss of a job, loss of an arm or a leg. How did you get through that? How did you find the Lord in that? What helped you walk this out? I know one of the things that I shared last night is I am so grateful for the community that God has placed around me, that when I have gone through hard times, the loss of family members, children, parents, that there were people there who didn't know what to say, they didn't know what to do, but they just showed up and sat with me. They showed up and let me talk. They showed up and let me share. They showed up and just were so supportive in their presence. And so, if you've read the book, again, if you haven't read it, maybe you can read it and then comment. But if you've read the book, Good Grief, by me, Pastor Lee Armstrong, if you have a comment on any of those questions, what did you learn? What was your favorite one? What have you learned that you were able to help others with? And what did I not share that you wished I would have shared? I've given you, one more time, this is my email address. Please email me any comments, and I will do my best to use those to advertise so that when I reach out to the community, I'm going to do a meeting where I invite 30 40 people max, and I'm just going to help them walk through grief. I'm going to help them deal with their loss, and I'm going to use these comments and the video last night to bring them in, to help them, to hook them into believing they would like to come and be a part. So if you have anything you'd like to share, that's my email address. Please send it to me so that together you and I can continue to change thousands of lives. I love you all so much. Look forward to seeing you next Monday. Let me say hi to a few folks while I'm here. David, Jim, Amy, Stuart, Mr. Jimmy Jeter, love you, my friend. Amy again, Nathan, Mary Lou, Karen, bless you guys so much. I always get to see the first few. I don't get to see everybody. And I know some of you will not even watch this until 9:30. Love you all so much. Watch it when you can. Share it when you can. Give me a thumbs up. And if you have a comment, please make sure to send it to my personal email. I love you all. See you next Monday.